All right, let's talk about how to supercharge your brain. Today, we are breaking down 3 scientifically proven ways to learn, well, pretty much anything way faster.
Okay, so have you ever felt like this? You spend hours highlighting a textbook, rereading your notes, and then nothing? It's like none of it actually stuck. You know you put the time in, but the results? They're just not showing up. It is so frustrating, right?
Well, what if I told you the problem isn't you? It's not about how much effort you're putting in or how smart you are. It's about your technique. It turns out a lot of the study habits we all picked up are, well, they're actually the least effective ways to learn. But the good news is science has figured out a much smarter way to do it.
So, for this, we're diving into the book, The ABCs of How We Learn. It's packed with 26 different scientific approaches, which is awesome. But we've pulled out 3 of the most powerful ones, techniques you can literally start using today.
All right, technique number 1. This one is a total game changer, and it's going to flip a really common study habit right on its head. The idea is simple. We need to stop rereading and start generating.
Okay, so what does that even mean? Well, think about it. Passive review is what most of us do by default. Highlighting a page, rereading a chapter for the 10th time. It feels like you're being productive, but honestly, it's not doing much. Active generation, on the other hand, makes your brain actually work. We're talking flashcards, trying to explain a concept out loud to a friend, or even just to the wall, without peeking at your notes. You're forcing your brain to pull that information out of storage.
This is a great example. So instead of just staring at the finished caffeine molecule, the generation technique says, hey, try to draw it from memory. That struggle you feel when you're trying to remember where that one bond goes, that's the magic happening. Every time you struggle and then successfully recall it, you're making that connection in your brain stronger. You're literally building the memory, not just looking at it. And here's the key takeaway. The act of pulling information out of your brain, that retrieval, is what makes it easier to find it again later. It's just like exercising a muscle. Every time you force yourself to remember something without any hints, it's like doing a rep for your brain. And that just makes the memory stronger and way easier to access next time. Okay, so generation is awesome for remembering stuff. But what about really understanding it, on a deeper level? For that, we need our second technique, learning with contrasts. Let's actually try this one out right now. Take a look at all these scissors. Just give them a quick glance. Can you spot the pair that's designed for cutting really fine hair? Go on, take a guess. If you guessed B, you got it. But wait, how did you know? You probably didn't study scissors before this. Your brain did something automatically. It compared them. When you see them all side by side, you can't help but notice the long blades here, the really chunky blades there, and the super delicate ones on B. It's the contrast that makes the important features just pop right out at you. And that's the big idea here. We often talk about analogies, right? Finding similarities. But this is the flip side. Contrasting cases force our brain to lock onto the distinctive features, the little details that really define what something is. Honestly, this is how experts see the world. They've learned to spot those subtle differences that the rest of us just miss. So that brings us to our third and final technique. And this one tackles a problem that every single person who has ever tried to learn anything has faced: the plateau. You know that feeling, right? Where you're just stuck. You're practicing, you're putting in the hours, but you're just not getting any better. There's actually a name for this, the power law of practice. And this graph shows it perfectly. When you first start learning something new, your progress shoots up. It's exciting. But then it slows down. And eventually, you hit that flat line, where putting in more time just doesn't seem to equal more skill. Yep, that's the plateau. So how do you break through that wall? The answer is something called deliberate practice. And that first word is everything. Deliberate. This is the complete opposite of just mindlessly going through the motions. It's about focused, effortful practice that's specifically designed to zero in on your weaknesses and push you just a little bit past what you can already do comfortably. This is such a great example of what that looks like. On one side, you have a player just shooting hoops, maybe chatting with a friend. Sure, it's practice, kind of. But on the other side, that player is shooting half as many free throws. But for every single shot, they are totally focused on one specific thing: their balance, their knee bend, whatever. That is the difference between staying stuck and actually becoming an expert. Whew, okay, so we've covered a lot here, right? 3 really powerful science-backed techniques. So let's put it all together. How do you actually use this stuff? Let's break it down into a super simple playbook.
Here it is, your new learning playbook. Step 1. To remember something, stop rereading and start generating. Pull it from your own memory. Step 2. To truly understand something, don't just look at one example. Compare it with other things to see what makes it unique. And step 3. To get better at a skill, stop mindlessly repeating what you're already good at. Practice with purpose by focusing on what you're bad at. Look, these aren't just abstract theories from a book. These are real, practical tools. You can use them to learn a new language, pick up an instrument, get better at coding, literally any skill you can think of. So now you know how to learn better. The only question is, what are you going to master first?